Hi y'all, and welcome to the first tutorial in 2020. My name is Andrea and the channel is Sewspire. If you are just joining us, welcome. We are so glad you have made your way here. If you are a returning visitor, thank you. We're going to structure the tutorials a little differently in 2020, and everything is going to be documented in a design notebook. This is the one that I selected. It is by Artist Loft. I got it at Michael's for $5, and it's just basically, it's a sketchbook. A little tip for you that my daughter Megan, who's an artist, gave me is find a like-size piece of cardboard and then put that in between the page you're working on and the next page, and that will keep your ink and such from bleeding through to the next page. So I wanted to share that with you. So here are my notes for today's tutorial. At the end of each video, I'll flip through the book for you so you can see what I have been working on that week for my Etsy shop. The next thing that's going to be a little bit different is I wanted to find a way to index the tutorials in this design notebook so that I could reference them later. So the easiest way that I can explain this to you is think of this design notebook like a recipe book, and we are going to ultimately create an index and a filing system here so that you can mix and match these recipes, if you will, to create your own custom pieces. So we're going to begin by discussing pockets and how you can layer those pockets to add functionality to a piece. As most of you know, I primarily have two construction methods for the bags: the fat corner or box corner, and those are essentially the same. The only difference is whether you notch out the corner before or after you sew the side seams. And then the second method is the T method, and I have samples of each to show you if you are not familiar with the differences between those two methods. So this first bag here was crafted by Catherine, and she is a longtime Sewspire subscriber and patron, and she used the fat corner or the boxed corner method to craft this market tote, which you can find the instructions for on the YouTube channel. And the way that you know that this was a fat corner or boxed corner construction is because the bag has a side seam, okay? And I just want to point out the phenomenal job she did lining up that side seam with the base seam, okay? So this is an excellent example of the fat corner or boxed corner. This gorgeous bag was also crafted by a longtime subscriber and patron, Suzette, and for this she used the T method of construction. And the way that I know that is because there are separate side and base panels. So the T method will give you a boxier look, whereas the fat corner or boxed corner gives you that inverted shape to your bag, which is very stylish as well. So those are the two primary Sewspire / Andrea Chapman construction methods. So we're going to use those two methods, which I know you're very familiar with, or can be in a little bit of time if you just review some of the tutorials, and we're going to create recipes in which you can mix and match. And some of you who are as old as I am will remember children's clothing line. And so when you would shop for your clothes, you would match the labels, and that's how you would know that your outfit matched. So we're going to create a similar labeling system for each recipe so that you know this pocket technique that I'm going to show you today work with the fat corner / box corner, or it'll work with the T method, all right? So I'm going to build out this pocket panel with you today, and then we will continue to use it, and eventually we're going to end up with a really phenomenal piece. This is a way for me to transfer my design knowledge to you in small bite-sized bits. All right, so before we get started sewing and designing, I want to congratulate Gail. She is the winner of this month's Create t-shirt. Gail entered over on Sewspire.com, and you are welcome to head on over there and enter as well. You only have to enter once for the entire year, and I'm going to pick one winner in the first tutorial of every month. And now what's special about this opportunity is not only will Gail receive a custom Create t-shirt in her choice of colors, she is also going to get the opportunity to share with the Sewspire community what the word create means to her. So Gail, I'm going to email you. If you reply to that email with your size and color preferences for the t-shirt, as well as what the word create means to you, then I will share that with our community. So I just want to thank you, Gail, for entering. I'm really excited to make your t-shirt for you, and I am looking forward to hearing what the word create means to you. For those of you who have participated in one of my master classes, you are familiar with the term order of operations, and that is the order in which you sew and assemble the pieces. That's critical in this layered pocket design because on the front of the pocket there are going to be slip pockets of assorted sizes, and then behind the slip pockets there's going to be a full-length zipper pocket, and then there is going to be a swivel key fob attached either between the slip pocket or the top of the zipper trim. So it's important to go in order, because if I attached the zipper pocket to the bag body panel first, then I would have no way to divide my slip pockets. Likewise, if I get everything attached and then realize I did not assemble the key fob, again, I have to use the seam ripper and make some modifications. So I'm all about keeping this super simple and maximizing the functionality. And that's what I'm going to be able to show you here today with this layered pocket panel. So to begin, we're going to craft the key fob, which is made from a 3-inch wide strip of fabric. You can make this as long as you like. I have mine 3 by 18. I like a really long key fob because I want to be able to reach that and pull it out from the top of the bag, as well as have it sit deep inside of the pocket so that I know my keys are secured. So to create the key fob, you're going to take that long piece of material, you're going to fold it in half long ways and press it, then open that up, bring those raw edges inward to meet on that center press line, fold that over and stitch down that open edge. You have the option of adding a second row of stitching on the folded edge if you like. For the key fobs, I generally do not add that second row of stitching. And now my strap is complete, and now I want to thread that on to my swivel fob. For this bag, I am going to be using gold toned hardware. This beautiful fob matches the gold teeth on the zipper, and any other hardware or snaps and things like that that I include in this design will have the gold finish on those. So the key fob is folded in half, and then we're just going to set that aside for a few moments. And now we're going to craft the slip pocket, which will sit on the front of this pocket panel, and that is crafted from 2 pieces of material that are 10 inches tall by 18 inches wide. Along the top and bottom edges, I have folded that material over approximately a ½ inch and pressed that. And then what I'm going to do is stagger that fabric slightly, and what this does is create a lip along the top edge of that pocket. And because of the folds, you have the 4 layers of fabric, so that gives your pocket lip a lot of body, and then your fingers can differentiate there because of that lip when you're reaching inside your bag. Now you have a choice now. If you like, you can attach your key fob to this exterior slip pocket by slipping the raw edges in between and stitching that in place. I want to attach my fob in the zipper trim, so I'm going to hold off on that and go ahead and top stitch the top edge of this pocket with that material staggered and layered as shown. And then I like to come back in and add a second row of top stitching to the top of the pocket. It adds a little stability and is the finishing detail in my opinion. And now the top edge of my pocket is finished. I'm going to set that aside. And now I want to move on to the zipper pocket, which is crafted also from 2 pieces of material, which are 18 inches wide. But then these are 12 inches tall because I need that pocket to be slightly larger than the slip pocket. I used the same technique and folded the top and bottom long edges of that pocket over and pressed those a ½ inch to create a nice finish edge. And then I have a 18-inch zipper here, which I'm going to sandwich in between the top folded edges of that pocket, and I'm going to pin everything in place. And then once I have that zipper, that bottom zipper tape in place, I like to unzip and make sure that the zipper is not getting caught in that pocket. Sometimes this bottom edge can come up over the teeth, and that will cause the zipper to malfunction. So this feels great. So now I'm going to take my zipper trim piece, which is crafted exactly like the key fob, using the same folding technique, and measures 18 by 3 inches as well. And I'm going to sandwich the top edge of that zipper in this trim piece, and I want to pin that in place as well. And then I'm going to unzip the zipper one more time before I stitch both layers in place to make sure that that functions properly. And that opens beautifully. And so I'm now ready to attach the zipper to the pocket. I'm going to begin with this bottom row, and I'm going to use my needle position to move the needle as far right as possible without going over the fabric to create a very narrow seam allowance along that zipper. Then I'm going to come back in, adjust the needle position, and add that second row of stitching. This is for looks as well as functionality because I want this zipper to be very secure. Then I'll come over here to the zipper trim and I'll add just one row of stitching very close to the zipper teeth without going off the fabric. I will not be adding a second row of stitching to the zipper trim because when this is attached to the body panel, that second row of stitching will come into play. I've added the 2 rows of stitching along the top of the pocket and then 1 row of stitching along the zipper trim. Again, just going to test that the zipper functions, and it functions beautifully. And now it is time for me to bring back over the slip pocket, and I want to position that on top of this zipper pocket. I want to leave enough room for the zipper to function, and then the bottom of the zipper pocket to show through here so I can have that balance between the gingham and the floral, which I love this combination. So this pocket is going to be positioned approximately 2 inches from the top of that trim, and that'll give me a nice floral accent at the bottom. Now I get to decide how I would like these pockets divided, and I like to have a few pen slips in my bag. This gingham is going to make it really simple to divide the pockets. If you are working with a geometric or a floral print for this, you would want to press in your vertical stitch lines, and you could do that with your finger by pressing the fabric, or you can use the iron, or you can mark that with pins. So I'm going to put in a 4.5 inch pocket to the right here, which 1/2 inch of that will be consumed in the seam allowance. So this will end up being a 4 inch pocket. And then to the left of that, I am going to put in 3 pen slips for my 3 most favorite pens. And then I'm going to divide the remaining material in half to create 2 more approximately 4 inch wide slip pockets. So I'll have 3 4-inch pockets and 3 pen slips. And now the next step is to stitch the slip pocket in place across the base of the slip pocket. So I just bring all of the layers up on the machine deck and stitch that in place. If you adjusted your needle position, you want to move that back to center. Now the base of the pocket has been attached, and now I'm going to divide my pocket as outlined here to create those multiple slips. And I do that by putting all of the layers on the machine and then starting just at the top of the slip pocket, also forwards, reinforce with a back stitch, and then continue down just to the stitch line where I attached the slip pocket and reinforce with a back stitch. So the last step is to decide where you would like the key fob positioned. I tend to like my key fobs towards the side of the bag so that I can just reach in and use that. I'm going to take the raw edges and align those and then tuck that behind that zipper trim. I don't want to go down past the zipper at all with those little raw edges. So I'm just going to pin that in place. And then I'll show you what that looks like on the back. So the raw edges fall just above that stitch line. And now I'm just going to stitch that in place with a row of stitching to hold that. Okay, and now my key fob is tacked in place, and the way that will function is I'll be able to tuck it right inside that right hand pocket, or ideally I can pull it out and reach it from the top of the bag. Then on the back of that, you're going to want to trim up all of those threads, because the back of this pocket is the lining for your zipper pocket. So you don't want to reach inside of that and have a whole bunch of threads, and it's much easier to do that now. So when you are ready to attach this to your body panel, you would pin this in place on the body panel, and then you would stitch across the base of the pocket, and then you would bring the swivel fob up and stitch along the top edge of the zipper trim. And that would secure the pocket panel to the body panel of your bag and allow it to function as designed. We will have the opportunity to do that in a future video. This is our first pocket panel. We will create a couple more, and then we will use them all to create one amazing bag. So this first one here offers 3 slip pockets, 3 pen slips, a full length zipper pocket, and a swivel key fob. For this project, you would need to purchase approximately 1/2 yard of each print. You're going to have additional material left over, of course, but the 1/2 yard cut is perfect for the 18-inch wide pocket. Alright, so here's a closer look at my design page for this pocket panel, and I have that coded here: box corner, fat corner, T method. It's ideal for use in a bag, and these are pockets designed for the interior. You can come up with whatever kind of coding you like, but I'll share what I'm using in case you'd like to replicate that. I made some notes here at approximately how much fabric I need for this pocket. Then again, as we're working through this coding system here, and you're selecting different recipes for your bag, you'll know, oh, this pocket requires 1 yard of fabric, this pocket requires 1/2 yard of fabric, so forth. So you can calculate those fabric measurements with ease. I made the notes of the height and width of each pocket piece. I listed the hardware that I needed, the technique that was used, and then I created a little sketch here. I also made note of the fabric names that were used in this collection, because I think that there's a story all by itself in the name, and the name is inspirational on its own. So I like to keep up with what the designers are naming the fabric. And then I took little swatches of the fabric, and I just used clear packing tape and attached those to the page as well, because here you'll see I have a note that I want to pair this pocket panel with an olive waxed canvas, and I think cherry red webbed straps would be amazing. So if I'm out fabric shopping, I can color match with these swatches here. So that's how I did this design page. To some, it might look a bit chaotic. For me, it completely functions. You'll notice I integrated some different colors there so that my eye would be drawn to those colors. Please use your pages and your design notebook to suit your needs. This style here just happens to work very well for my mind. Then one last bit of coding, I put R001 down there, and the R stands for Recipe 1. Okay, so you may want to stick with that coding because in the future I'm going to say Recipe 1, Recipe 15, T method, and then you'll know what I'm doing. So if you keep anything, keep the R001. And then as promised, I'm going to give you a little look through the book. I will always start at the last page where we left off. So I'm going to start at the beginning here. This is a design that has been requested from our community, and I'm still working out the details. This was the inspiration for the master class, which starts on Monday. This was a camera bag that I sewed for a customer in my Etsy shop. This here was a formula page because the corners weren't working out as I'd hoped, so I had to just create a little scratch page there to work on. So I'll probably use this whole spread as scratch in the future. This was a padfolio that I was designing for a customer. In the end, she made it so complicated, she walked away from the order, but since I have the design, we will create the order in the future. And that was the benefit. Even though I didn't actually secure the order, I secured the design, and this was her vision, and now I have it in my design notebook. So this is just one of the benefits to keeping a design notebook. I could have easily just let this correspondence take place digitally, and I would have forgotten the details as her message got buried in the Etsy feed. Now I have everything on paper and can share that with you and reference it for a future design. These pages in here got messed up, so I folded them in half, and now I'm using them as notes pages. And then this is where I get serious about the bag we're going to be making for AMC4. I am naming it the Stowaway. I want to thank everybody for their name suggestions. That name really popped out at me, so thank you so much. And then here, this was a planner cover for a rocket book that I designed, and these were her fabric choices, very whimsical. And then this was an amazing camera bag. If you all want to see finished pictures of these designs, follow me at Watermelon Wishes on Instagram. I always share photos of my finished custom orders there, and these fabrics came together gorgeous. I was really happy with this bag. I am making note too of how I feel, so I'm using this as like a journal too, how the project makes me feel. Some of them, like the camera bag at the beginning, was frustrating, and I noted why, what was going on. This one was seriously rewarding project for me, and I just made note of that as well. And then I'm going to use this page here as a little index for all the different fabrics that I use on my camera strap covers, because it's a very simple design but a popular seller for me, so I wouldn't want to have a page for every single camera strap cover because that would be boring. But I do want to index the fabrics that I use. So eventually you're going to see a pretty little fabric index here. And then here we are today with recipe 1. So I want to thank you for joining me. I hope that you like this new format. This is really going to allow me to take you deep into the design process. I've spent the last 4 years sharing basic sewing with you. So now we're going to take all of those skills. They're available for anyone who wants to learn for free, and we're going to up the design game here at Sewspire. So I will see you next Tuesday, 12 o'clock, for another pocket recipe. I will also be updating the blog on Friday with another edition of Behind the Seams, and that is an opportunity for you to get to know me on a personal level. Before I go, I just want to give you one last chance to join the masterclass and become a Sewspire patron. The link is down below in the notes. We have 9 seats left, I believe, for AMC. So if you hop over there now, you can get in for $10. You can participate and make the stowaway with us. If not, you can learn and grow as a designer and a maker all year long right here. So if you will, give the video a quick thumbs up. If you haven't had the opportunity, please do subscribe. We'd love to have you as a member of the community. And I will see you next week. As always, please know the creative genius in me will be celebrating the creative genius in you. Have an awesome week, everyone. Thanks for watching.